The race for the La Liga title is now a two-horse race. Inter keep the top spot in Serie A.
Dortmund get a much-needed win, and it's your boy Hype Man Vic versus Danny P in the last Merseyside derby of the year. All this and more on this episode 55 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Snooze, kick them off.
Let's dig in. Yes. Welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I am your host, Snooze, and we are here with the almost full fam. There's no J fam today, but we do have Danny P on the ones and twos and everybody's favorite Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, I'll tell you right now, right after we do this again, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and then I will cheers you. I'll wait. There's like. Oh, no, subscribe's a little bit further down. There it is. Yeah, subscribe. All right, and what I'm drinking today is Knob Creek 12, and it's about finishing. Look, I'm almost done there, and I just got to push this bottle over the edge, and we're going to start with this lovely podcast and all of our new friends who just joined the like and subscribe to us. So, cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Oh, I guess I could put the label out, huh?
There you go. Yeah, marketing 101. Come on.
You know, we were laughing when we started this podcast because that was at least the 10th take for the intro. Golly, it's been a long weekend, but it's a fun one. And we have a packed agenda for you today. I know a lot of y'all aren't just watching soccer. We had the not the Final Four. We had the Sweet 16, and then we had baseball's back. I mean, there's all kinds of sports. Vic, obviously, Hype Man, he didn't care about baseball. You'll find that. Danny P and I, we were a little bit of addicts, though, so. But yeah, this look ahead, or we have a look ahead is what I'm trying to say for the Prem. But we also have to recap 3 leagues that happened over the weekend as well. Great time to be alive. And so with that, though, we also have to talk about a game, do we not?
I think so. And I'm kind of giving it away with all the
colors. I know, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's go boots on the ground for the Austin FC minutes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Austin FC get another impressive win on the road as they beat St. Louis. It's our first win in St. Louis, by the way, and they've always had our number for some reason. Our first win in St. Louis, 1-0, and the goal comes off of a Bukhari assist. And we've been yelling at him for weeks to pass the damn ball. Mm-hmm. He passes the ball one time, and Mirto Uzuni opens up his record, or open up his ledger, right? Ledger? I think so. Yeah, opened up his ledger for scoring for Austin FC. He's got 1 goal on us, and we were able to keep St. Louis at bay for the rest of the game. And we were on our heels for a while. I think it's the second straight game where we already had about 30% or a little over 30% possession. Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I'm sure Josh Wolf is absolutely just crying inside because he was all about possession, and now we have 30% possession these past 2 games that we won. So it's pretty nice.
We also have a lot of wins, though. You know?
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird being on this side of the table because I've watched a lot of teams in various leagues throughout Europe that do the same thing where it's it's a fun attacking style, possession based. But then you see those teams where they're just winning 1-0, 1-0 here, 1-0, and you're like, that's so boring. But then now I'm on the other side of the table. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. If we're winning, hey, that maybe that's the recipe to get it done, Vic.
Yeah, and you got to give it up to the defense, man. Our defenses look solid. We're cutting off crosses, we're cutting off passes, all kinds of just looking really good in the box. Stuber's looked amazing as well all season long, and there's no stopping him. He's doing great. But yeah, we get the 1-0 win. We have Portland this weekend for Saturday night football or soccer. We will talk maybe a little bit more about that in the next episode, but we'll see Portland in Q2 Stadium this Saturday, I believe at 6:30, 6:45, and hopefully we keep this winning streak going and get some more Mirto Uzuni goals because he costs a lot of money. So
we'd love that. We'd all love that. Okay, thank you for that, sir. And now we have a lot to go through, so let's jump right in, Vic. Let's start off. I feel like we should start with Italy.
Let's do it. To Serie A.
Hold on here. My notes page is all jacked up. What's going on? Let me move this around here.
I don't know what you did. I didn't touch nothing.
All right. There we go. Okay. Well, of course, we had match day 30 that went on this weekend, and we'll start off on Saturday because there's no Friday game, which is weird. Let's stick to our program, guys. Let's stick to what we do best here. And so Saturday, Como and Empoli ends 1-1, but Empoli were the more dangerous team and missed 3 or 4 clear-cut chances to take all 3 points. And when you're the bottom 3, you cannot waste chances like that. They'll remember this if they go down for sure because they should have won this match. Bologna make it 5 wins in a row as they take down Venezia 1-0. And remember, Venezia had just come off holding Lazio, Napoli, Como, and Atalanta to draws. So, we got to talk about the goal, though. That's the main thing. It was a perfect sweeping volley from Orsolini. It was just beautiful. And this was not a given that Bologna were going to win this match, and they did. Juve get a 1-0 win over Genoa and bounce back after consecutive defeats. Igor Tudor's tenure is getting started on the right foot. And, hey, he is even locked Yildiz. He looks great. That dude was everywhere today. Or that day, and he got the winning goal from a great run. It's just fun seeing him out there having fun again. Way to go. Roma get a 1-0 win over the Milkmen to extend their winning streak to 7 games. Lecce didn't make it easy for Roma, but Roma just too damn hot right now, and Dovbyk sends a defender dancing and buries his chance to give Roma all 3 points. On Sunday, Cagliari got 3 second-half goals to take down bottom-of-the-table Monza. Gianluca Gaetano gets a perfect free-kick goal and an assist. What a threat for Cagliari. He's going to be big for them if they're going to do big things. And they move 6 points clear of the relegation zone, so they're dreaming of safety already. Our Fiorentina get it done with a 1-0 win over Atalanta. The goal comes thanks to who else but the main man, the moist one, Moistkin. Is that a good one? I don't know. Atalanta looked particularly vulnerable in the back in this one, which I'm not used to seeing from them. That was a bit different. But they better find a way to get it back in form because they might not qualify for the Champions League next year after being in the title race virtually all season if they don't get it together soon. Inter get a 2-1 win over Udinese, and they were cruising, but it was a tale of 2 halves as Udinese dominated and got a go back thanks to an amazing solo goal from Umar Solé. In fact, he almost got a second, and honestly, he could have changed the Scudetto race if he would have got the goal. I mean, he was doing great that game. It was insane. And then also Napoli keep pace with Inter in the title race with the emphatic 2-1 win over Milan. And we'll dig more into this one in just a second. And then just today, which is Monday, Verona and Parma go 0-0. We're not going to talk about that one. And our Lazio draw with Torino 1-1. Okay, Vic, where does the table leave us after match day 30?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So on top is still Inter Milan. They have 67 points, followed by Napoli, just 3 points behind them with 64 points. In the third spot, Atalanta, 6 points down behind Napoli, and they're straight off 2 losses. Those 6 points costing them a spot at least. And rounding out our top 4 is Bologna. They have 56 points. They're trying to gain a couple more spots and see what they can do. I think the top 2 are kind of running away with it, but we'll see. We got 8 games left. And tickling the top 4, as we say, is Juventus. They have 55 points, just 1 point behind Bologna. So they are also fighting to get into those championship spots as well, Champions League spots as well. And if we take a look at the bottom of the table, nowhere close to champions are Empoli. They're in the 18th spot. They have 23 points. Got a draw this past weekend, trying to fight their way out of it. Probably not going to happen. Venezia have 20 points. They keep their badge, also the relegation status, as we say, as they are still in the 19th spot. Only beating Monza right now, who have not looked the best at all. They have 15 points in the 20th spot, holding up the rest of the table. It's been a pretty dreary year for them. Anything on the table you want to go through, or do you want to go to your match day, your match of the day?
I do want to just call out a couple of things, like AC Milan, we just talked about, they lost, but then also Fiorentina and Lazio struggling, trying to get back up there. But if you think about it, I mean, Lazio get a couple wins here. Our Lazio, they can be right back up there. And so it still blows my mind that Juventus fired. They sacked their coach when they're like in prime position to get into the Champions League next season. But Bologna, I just wanted to call that out. They, you see how far they've climbed. I remember, maybe just a month or 2 ago, they were sitting mid-table and we were like thinking they just tanked and, Champions League tanked their season. And look at them doing what you'll see in La Liga. Girona are struggling to do after being in the Champions League for the first time in a while. So anyway, that's all I have for that.
Yeah, that's true. Lazio is just 4 points out of one of the Champions League spots. So it's pretty crazy. And with 8 games left, who knows, man? Anything can happen.
happen.
Anything can happen. And I hope a lot. I know there's one team that hoping a lot. They're hoping a lot of stuff happens. Jeez, I can't speak. And that's Napoli. Tell us about their match that they just had. They're just 3 points behind the leaders.
Yeah, Napoli and Milan is the match that I was keyed in on. And, from the beginning, you knew it was going to be a bad day for Milan when Politano puts Napoli 1-0 up within the first minute of the match. That's pretty much just sums up the rest of the evening as well. Napoli were basically dominant throughout the entirety. And now the stats will tell you that Milan outshot Napoli, but watching the match, it never really felt like any of those shots were really troubling them. And obviously they do get the one goal, but Napoli felt like the better team and they were in control of this one. What I will say, though, is that Pulisic and Leao, they were actually really good. And the fact that Leao didn't start was insane to me. But Jimenez had a nightmare of a game, and he got the nod for the penalty, and it was saved. And obviously the match ends 2-1. So, hello, that's the splitting of the points, the 1-1 draw, if you will. And it didn't happen because he missed it. And just a side note, though, I saw a stat, though, where Pulisic, as the penalty taker for Milan, was 4 of 5 on penalties, and they haven't used him for whatever reason in the past 5 penalties, and they're 1 for 5. So let's go back to our boy Captain America.
Yes.
The biggest overarching theme that I will say, Vic, though, is that Napoli are a complete team and they look good. But on the other end, Milan are a group of extremely talented individuals, but they're not playing as a team. I mean, you think about how they have Leao, Pulisic, Reinders, Musa, and then they added Kyle Walker. They added Joao Felix. They added, I can't remember, Santi Jimenez at the what am I saying? Winter break, not the break. Golly, what am I messing up? The winter window. Anyway,
transfer window.
Watch the whole thing. There you go. The winter transfer window. And they still aren't playing well. And I remember watching that happen and being like, oh, damn, they're going all in. Because at the time, they have Champions League going on. They still were kind of pushing for that Champions League spot, which they technically are still. But they don't seem like a team right now. And it seems like what they're going to be playing for is a Conference League or Europa League spot. But that's what I got from that one, Vic.
Yeah, and 2 wins out of the last 6. You'd figure maybe it'd be one of their, managers fired, but no, it's Juventus.
Well,
oddly enough, we'll get a win right afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Technically, they've already switched managers once this year, so they don't need to go again. But I will say the fact that Juve feel like they needed to make a change and Milan are where they are tells you kind of like where the cultures are, right? Like Milan is just they're made the switch and they're kind of they're all right with where they are right now. I'm sure they would rather be better, but Juve can sense the change coming. And they were like, you know what? We need to make a preemptive strike and get this guy out the door. Igor Tudor. He was, obviously he's doing something right. He got a win already. So we'll see how it plays out. It's going to be fun. The final, 8-7 match days that we have left. And the top of the top, the Champions League places, even the bottom of the table, everything in Serie A is wide open right now. It's going to be a fun end to the season.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Getting good.
With that, I think we should move right on along to Spain.
Let's do it then. To La Liga.
Yes, sir.
Smooth.
I have to confess, since our last time we had the podcast, we were talking about how I watched that show, and there was some jamon in Madrid, and they were eating and just drinking. Well, I went to a farmer's market in Georgetown, Texas, if you've ever been, and there was a guy that sells charcuterie, and he was doing like dried Spanish chorizos, and I got one because I was just very, I wanted some jamon, and it was amazing. It's freaking awesome. So really, really good. Okay.
Boy. You always been a fan of the chorizo, man.
You know me. Me. And especially had a little piece of pepper in it. Oh, it's really good. Okay, let's jump into this match day. Match day 29 for La Liga. The league is right though. If I said the league, right? Just in Spanish.
In Spanish for the Liga.
Right, exactly. Saturday, Real Sociedad get back on track with a 2-1 win over Valladolid. Biggest note from this match, though, for me anyways, was Oyarzabal gets his first goal in 10 La Liga matches. Fingers crossed he can get this groove back, because I feel like I haven't said his name since we had the Euros in the summer. I mean, he's had a Not a very fun year for him. Atleti dropped points again, this time in a 1-1 draw with Espanyol. Atleti look like a team that knows they're not winning the title, but they've secured Champions League football for next season because there's no energy out there right now. Alaves fall 2-0 at home to Rayo, and I don't know what was going on in Alaves, but they had an awesome tifo. Confetti was falling. It was a packed house, awesome atmosphere, wasted. And the thing that summed it up for me was there was a Panenka attempt, the penalty where you just go straight down the middle. By Joan Jordan in the first half, or Joan Jordan, if you say it in the English. But it just went straight down the half. The only problem is, Panenkas, they're awesome when they work, but if you just kick it down the middle and the keeper doesn't move, you look like an idiot. And that's exactly what happened. The dude just stood there and caught it, and that summed up Alaves' day. Real Madrid did it the hard way, but they get it done regardless with a 3-2 win over Leganés. Mbappe gets a brace, and Jude Bellingham chips one in as well. Leganés fought back valiantly, but Los Blancos are just too hot right now, and they may be looking at how many times have they won the Champions League in a row? At least twice, or I guess this would be the sixth time. I don't know, but either way, they're looking really, really good right now. On Sunday, Villarreal go down the road and get a 2-1 win over Getafe. Ayoze Perez go on the road, not down the road. Just if there's anybody checking my geography, that's supposed to be go on the road, not down the road. Ayoze Perez got his 12th goal of the season, and Villarreal stopped their skid of 2 consecutive losses. Barcelona extend their win streak to 8 matches in La Liga with a 4-1 win over Girona. And we still have an El Clásico left, and that may very well determine the title race. But, Vic, you'll show it here in just a moment, but the goal differential between Barca and Real Madrid is ridiculous. So they're going to need to win on points. Valencia get all 3 points in a 1-0 win over Mallorca at La Mestalla. And now they really only need a couple more results to feel like they're going to be safe. But the cool thing is they were the only bottom half team to win this weekend. So what a time to get a result for them. We'll see that here in a moment. Athletic Club and Osasuna ends 0-0, and we don't talk about those here. The battle for Seville ends with green, whatever you want to call it. It's green, baby. It was a great match, amazing atmosphere. And also they mentioned at the match that it was the first time in 6.5 years that Betis had beaten Sevilla in La Liga. 6.5 years. Way to go. Clap, guys. And why, Vic? Why is that?
My boy Anthony.
There you go. Oh, man. And then, of course, today we had Celta Vigo and Las Palmas ending in a 1-1 draw. Okay, Vic. Where does that leave us in the table in La Liga after match day 29?
Yes, sir. The table looks very familiar on top as Barcelona have 66 points on that 8-game winning streak. Like you said a little while ago, looking absolutely amazing. Right behind them is Real Madrid, who survive a scare against Leganés, have 63 points, just 3 points behind them. And as you said, that El Clásico could determine the championship. If Real Madrid happens to win like 22-0, then
that goal differential is insane. 22,
absolutely crazy. Yeah.
21 or whatever. I don't know, math.
Yeah. Well, they got to win 22 to get a better. Well, I guess I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Back to the table. Sorry. Atletico Madrid are in the number 3 spot. They are 6 points behind Real Madrid. Not completely out of it, but that gap might be too much to overcome. They have 57 spots again in the 3rd spot. And then Athletic Club are 4 points behind them. They have 53 points, and they round out our top 4. Tickling our top 4 is Villarreal. They have 47 points. And then tied with Villarreal in the 6th spot is Real Betis, like we were just talking about a little while ago. They have 47 points on a 6-game win streak at least. That's what the table can show us right now. And with Anthony, they're looking very good. Anthony, best player in the world, apparently. If we take bottom of the table, Leganés just couldn't get it done against Real Madrid. They would be the first team relegated if the season ended today. They are in the 18th spot. They have 27 points. Las Palmas are behind them. They are in the 19th spot with 26 points, and then a clear 10 points behind them. Holy guacamole, my voli-dolies. I still believe in you guys. I still got the cup. I don't know. I think it's lost. I'm pretty sure they're almost guaranteed, but they have 16 points, and they are holding up the rest of the table. Guys, get it together, but anything on the table you want to call out, Snooze, or do you want to start going into that Getafe Villarreal match?
I just want to mention that Athletic Club, don't say it. They have dropped quite a few points in the last 6 match days. What is that? 3? They've dropped. I mean, you can't tally up it like that, but they've dropped 6 points essentially, right? And if you look at the table now, Betis and Villarreal are only 6 points behind. So all the greatness that they had been doing this season might be for nothing if they don't get it together. which is just crazy because they've had a great season. And it'd be pretty awesome to see either one of those. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't have a horse in the race, but just wanted to call that out because Bilbao, Athletic Club, they're letting it slip a little bit. They are in the next round of the Europa League, so they could win the whole thing and be in the Champions League regardless, which, okay, sure. But anyway, just wanted to call that out.
I will say that, Real Betis have all the momentum right now. So if there's any team, I think we said that last time, if there's any team that can make up that point differential right now, it's Real Betis. And I mean, you have so many people watching this because, Anthony came from Manchester United. So you have like all these Premier League fans, and he wasn't the best player, like nothing, but you knew who Anthony was. And now he's at Real Betis, and they're just going on a tear. They got a lot of eyes on him, and there's gonna be a lot of people rooting for them. Like me, I'm one of them right now. So
yeah, I know. Yeah. Was that 18 points in the past 6
dude.
Matches? Like that is crazy. Like I was saying in the preview for this past weekend, they're the most important team outside of Barcelona. But if we see Betis and Barcelona play right now, I don't know who wins that match because they're that hot. So okay, that's all.
All right. Well, I think we were talking about tied with Real Betis is Villarreal, and they just got a win over Getafe, keeping them into the European tournament spots. Tell us a little bit more about that match they just had. Did I say Getafe? Yeah. I think I said Getafe, right?
Yeah, he said Getafe.
It's a Mexican
that's
name.
Right.
Jeez.
I know, right? I like it. Well, the that match and a few others I'm going to bring up, just kind of talking about some points. If you remember, we didn't really have a match that we were watching specifically, but there was a lot of storylines, and so one of the main ones was that. Well, no, one of those main ones was the Getafe one. That's the first note that I have here. And Getafe, they should be fine even with the loss to Villarreal. But what I was looking forward to was seeing how that top 3 defense held up against Villarreal. And for the most part, Villarreal, they were just too much. They couldn't last the entire time because Perez ended up scoring once, but he could have had a lot more. And they just looked like a really good team. They're starting to gel. I'm talking Villarreal at this point. And Getafe, they're safe. They're not going to be, they're going to be fine. But like I was saying, going into the match, just really wanted to see how these two, what do they say, the immovable object and unstoppable force, you know what I mean? That's what it felt like coming in. But it turns out that Getafe's defense couldn't hold up. And then we talked about 2 teams fighting for goals at the opposite ends of the table, and Valencia proved they were the hungrier ones because I think it's safe to say now Valencia are going to be safe. Hopefully it's safe to say that because if not, this looks real bad. But I think they've done enough. But Mallorca right there fighting for those Champions League, European spots. And it was just a good match to watch to see who was going to take down the other, who's going to get 3 points and kind of set themselves up, run into the run in for these last few games. And Valencia looked like a really solid squad right now, which is just crazy. They hadn't looked like that all season. And then, of course, watching El Gran Derby, the Sevilla Derby, or the Battle for Seville, as I call it. And Betis, they are on an incredible run like we were just talking about. And they may end that up in that run in the Champions League by the end of the season. I mean, I told you these teams, the teams above them, specifically Villarreal and Athletic Club. I can just see if they have. I don't know if they have a match. Actually, let's look that up real quick. Who is Betis's final run in? Vic, let's find out. Betis schedule.
Producer.
Let's see. I'm curious.
It is Valencia, May 25th.
Next coming up? No.
No. I think you said last. I thought you said last one. Next one is I don't know.
No, they have Barcelona.
It's Barcelona. Okay.
Oh, we were just talking about that. Yeah. There we go. I didn't even know it. Look at that. I hadn't done the preview yet. So there we go. They have Barcelona. Then they have Villarreal. Okay, this is awesome. So we're going to know if they're real or not in the next 2 match days, at least in the La Liga. They have their round of, or their quarterfinal in the Conference League. But Barcelona and Villarreal up next. Put a pin in this right here, this conversation we're having. Betis have done amazing and coming through this run, obviously winning the derby they just did. That's awesome. And then beating Real Madrid in this run is great. But now if you take down Barcelona and Villarreal, that's it. You know what I mean? That's it. So, that'll be cool to see. We'll put a pin in it. We'll check it out in a couple weeks. So, okay.
I know Real Madrid are going to be some Betis fans coming up this next weekend. So we'll see what happens.
Man, what a big match. I'm excited now.
That's
I
a good
didn't even
match.
know
Yeah,
that
that's
was
a good match.
happening. Oh, it's going to be awesome.
We'll be talking about that match on the next episode of the No Business Soccer podcast. Look ahead coming out this Friday, so be sure to subscribe.
That's my
and
boy.
You'll be able to catch that episode as soon as it comes out.
Love you. Okay, let's
do
this. Let's move on to Germany.
Let's do it then. To Bundesliga.
Yes, sir. We had some movement within the not the top part of the table because that's pretty much wrapped up, but at least the Champions League qualification table was or part of the table is going good. And Bundesliga Matchday 27 started off on Friday like it should because they always do this. Leverkusen get a 3-1 win over Bochum, who, despite the score, they did put up a decent fight. Leverkusen just have more weapons, and it's hard to hold them down for a full 90 minutes. Bochum's goal comes from Felix Pasalac, and it was absolutely filthy. The goal was amazing. It's just a perfect volley. Saturday, Bayern get a 3-2 win over St. Pauli to keep the gap to Leverkusen at 6. And Harry Kane with the goal and an assist, and Sané with the brace. I just imagine, we've been to Munich before. Unfortunately, we didn't go to a game, but I could just imagine they're having a great time drinking some of that Kolsch. Or no, what were we drinking? What was the beer? It was what was it?
The main one I remember was Pilsner Urkel. But that was
that was in Czech. That was
I had a lot of that in Germany. But I forgot.
Hey, my boy had a lot of beer while he was there. He didn't even know what it was called. Oh, anyway. But yeah, I just imagine they're having a great time right now, especially with their star striker Harry Kane coming through. Okay, Wolfsburg go down 1-0 to Heidenheim at home. And this one was kind of unexpected, actually very unexpected for me anyway. Double H, as they get to be called again, have now come from the bottom of the table to sit in the relegation spot after getting back-to-back dubs while Kiel and Bochum have lost back-to-back. So great time to get 6 points. Started from the bottom, now we're here. You know what I mean? Gladbach get a 1-0 home win over Leipzig, and we'll dig into this one and more in a second. Eintracht Frankfurt make it back-to-back wins as they down Stuttgart at home 1-0. An early second-half red card put Stuttgart under pressure, and Mario Götze gets it over the line for the home side. Stuttgart have now lost back-to-back matches in the Bundesliga. Speaking of Kiel, they lose at home to Werder Bremen 3-0, and this was just Bremen out-qualitying them, if you will. Kiel had more of the ball, but Bremen just didn't waste any chances, and they get 3 points on the road. Hoffenheim and Augsburg split the points 1-1 in a 1-1 draw after Kramaric scores a 71st minute penalty. Augsburg will feel they should have gotten more out of this one, especially after seeing that Leipzig drop points again, and not a good time for them to do so, Augsburg. Freiburg fall at home to Union Berlin 2-1. Union have 7 points from their last 3 matches and look to be taking safety in the Bundesliga very serious now. Freiburg could not capitalize on Mainz and Leipzig dropping points, but they can get back on track since they are still only 3 points off that top 4 spot, as Vic will show us here in just a moment. And Dortmund are confusing as hell.
Out.
Yeah, because Mainz were one of the most informed teams in the freaking Bundesliga, and they just made them look like they weren't on the same level. I mean, the match was what it was. It's not like they dominated the entire time, but they do get the win there, 3-1. Sorry, I should have started off with that. That's why I said that. Crazy stuff in this game we love. It's just, I did not see that coming, and I was really excited to see if Mainz can get it done, and they could not. Okay, Vic, where does that leave us in the Bundesliga after match day 27?
Yeah, well, a lot of interesting things going on, except on top, because Bayern Munich are still in the number 1 spot. They have 65 points. Behind them is Bayer Leverkusen. Stop us if you heard that before. They have 59 points, a clear 6 points behind Bayern Munich, but that gap used to be a lot wider. So in the number 3 spot is Eintracht Frankfurt. They have 48 points, again, in the number 3 spot. And then rounding out our top 4 is Mainz with 45 points. Tickling the top 4 is Borussia Mönchengladbach, able to leapfrog Leipzig and Freiburg as they both got losses this past weekend. And now they're in the Europa League spot, just 2 points behind a Champions League spot for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Good on them. I think we're going to be talking about them in just a little bit. And then we take a look at the bottom of the table. As you said, Heidenheim were able to fight their way out of relegation, and boy, oh boy, Bochum are right back into it. Bochum are in the 17th spot with 20 points, and they've been there for a while. They've actually been in the bottom for a while, started to look good for a while, and now welcome back to relegation. They are only beating Holstein Kiel at this point. Holstein Kiel in the 18th spot with 17 points, and they both have 2 straight losses this past 2 weeks, fighting to stay on the bottom. As you could clearly see there, and not looking very good for them. Anything you want to call on the table, snooze, before we go to the match day of the week?
Yeah, the Champions League. I don't know how many places are going to be in the Bundesliga. Maybe 4, maybe 5. I don't know. But right now, we're just going to keep it top 4 for the time being. And it's just that race is going to be tight. From Freiburg, I mean, I guess you could even include Augsburg in there. And so the fact that Gladbach decided, like, we'll go ahead and take care of business, beat Leipzig, get 3 points on everybody that's around us. That is just awesome. What a great, and I'm here for the chaos. You know what I mean? They shoot up 3 points when everybody else is getting losses around them. So anyway, I'm just excited. These last 2 match days is going to be awesome.
Yeah, we just called him out too, because for one, our new graphic is able to say the whole name, Mönchengladbach, and also because we saw that Mönchengladbach sweater at the last last 2 Austin FC games.
That's right.
So yeah, it's good on them. Everything's turning around for them.
We just talked about it too, going into the preview, how you're going to see 4 through 7, just maybe 4 through 8 flip flopping, going all around. And I thought maybe Eintracht Frankfurt would be in that same boat, which, I mean, is that what, 48? My eyes are bad. Is this 46 or 48?
48.
Okay. Yeah. So a little bit further ahead than the other teams. But still, I mean, man, it's going to be awesome to see 4 through 8 just battling it out and seeing every week it's going to be flipping and changing. So, man, looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. And then while we're talking about Borussia Mönchengladbach, tell us a little bit more about their match that they just had with Leipzig.
Yeah, this one was it was interesting for me. Leipzig, they come up empty against Gladbach on the road, and they get leapfrogged in the process, like we were just talking about. So it was just really cool to see Gladbach have a pressure situation and then get it done and get that over the line. And the fact that Mainz ended up losing to Dortmund the next day is just kind of icing on the cake, because now they're catching up to them as well. Overall, it was just a weak, empty showing from Leipzig, who the next day they sacked their manager, Marco Rosa. And so, yeah, that kind of shows you where they are at the moment. It's understandable because they've only won once in their last 5 matches and have let the Champions League places pretty much slip. I mean, they could obviously get back in there with some wins, but it's an interim manager right now. I don't know what their plan is. Klopp's not coming back, right? So, like, what is going on with them? Sorry, Vic. I know that stung a little bit. He said, "Oh, wait, what?"
He better
not. So anyways, it's just the table's so tight right now that if they're going to make a change, it has to work. There can be no questions. Like, it has to happen right now. And if it doesn't, they're out of the Champions League. And then from what I was listening to a podcast, and they were kind of talking about the Gegenpressing podcast, in case, you want to plug for the info you're giving me. But they were just talking about how for a club like RB Leipzig, they can't not make the Champions League because of all of the big wages that they're paying these guys. I mean, just talking about Sesko and Xavi Simons, those are massive contracts by themselves. And you can't be not in Europe, or specifically not in the Champions League, and have these guys on your team. Not only that, they probably don't want to be on your team if you're not in the Champions League. Especially, they don't even know who the new manager is going to be. So anyway, it's just a huge, huge deal for them to get this right going into the final matches of the season. But Gladbach, on the other hand, they're without their star striker, Kleindienst, who I know in the preview I was really excited to see him step up here. Forgot he got a red card last game, so he couldn't play in this one. But anyway, he wasn't even on the pitch for this one, and they still had enough to get it done with Alassane Playa. And we've talked about this guy a few times now. He's stepping up, and he's getting the game winner in the 56th minute for them. It's a great result for Gladbach, but now, they're looking at a 3-point gap between them and Mainz, and really they can start thinking about that 4th spot and keeping up with, not keeping up with Mainz, but passing them and getting into the Champions League, which is insane. I don't remember the last time that Gladbach was in the Champions League. I'd have to check, but that's insane. I mean, all of it is, honestly, Leipzig is the least fun team to make the Champions League if it happens. I would rather see Mainz or Augsburg or Gladbach, one of them, make it. But yeah, man, it's just getting real tight up there. It's going to be a fun end to the season, Vic.
Agreed. Can't wait.
Okay. that is it for our reach around of Europe. I think now it's time to go to England for the midweek look ahead.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and knock it out to the Prem. Yes, sir. We got a midweek matchup this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then immediately turn around. Next matchup, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
They're going at it, yeah.
Well, before we jump into the matches, Vic, tell us where we left the table last after match day 25.
I would love to, because the table on the number one spot in the table is still Liverpool. Let's see if we can bring it up. There it is. Liverpool have 70 points, clear on top, 12 points clear of Arsenal, who are in the number 2 spot. Arsenal have 58 points, followed by Nottingham Forest with 54 points, 4 points behind Arsenal. And then rounding out the top 4 is Chelsea with 49 points. They knock out Manchester City. Manchester City are actually still in the 5th spot, fighting for a Europa League spot, because 1 point behind them is Newcastle United. Newcastle, I think, have been looking a little bit hotter than Manchester City recently. That would be pretty crazy for them to knock Manchester City out of any European tournament. And I think a lot of the league would like to see that. But if we take a look at the bottom of the table, the first team that would be relegated if the season ended today is Ipswich Town, back down to the league where they just came from. Same with the rest of these other 2 teams down here. Leicester City are in the 19th spot. Ipswich and Leicester both have 17 points, and then a clear 8 points below them, Southampton. I took their badge away until they get double digits, because they have 9 points on a 5-game losing streak. 6 games ago, they got 6 games ago, they got 33% of their points on the season. They got to win. So they went from 6 to 9 points. So, yeah, took their badge away. They'll get it back when they get in double digits. But they're holding up the rest of the table in this one. Snooze, anything you want to call out about the table while we got it up?
I think the Champions League places in this one are pretty fun, too. I guess in my mind, I just don't see Fulham, Brighton, Bournemouth, those teams getting in there. So the Premier League, obviously watching the games is fun, but the table is actually the most boring in my opinion. Like, everything's kind of locked down already. The top 3 we know who's going down. That gap is way too much, and we know who's going to win it. So in the Champions League places, yes, there are a few points, but that Chelsea spot is the only one in question, and Brighton and Newcastle are on their heels. But there's no way that Brighton, Bournemouth, or Fulham are going to beat out Newcastle, Chelsea, or Manchester City, in my opinion. So
yeah,
I don't know.
For the folks that maybe just tuned in, why don't you tell them who's going to win the league this year, Adam? Or Snooze?
Oh my God, I was wondering where you were going for that. Yes, that is one Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
Liverpool.
Just making sure we have the same slide and looking at it.
Yes, they will win one measly trophy this year, because they weren't good enough to win 4. So.
We had a shot before. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I would love, as a Spurs fan, to win anything. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, let's do it.
Well, do you want? Let's take a look at the fixtures we have. I was just gonna call them matches, but I wanted to be fancy and call them fixtures.
Oh, fixtures. Okay.
It cost me a weird, awkward second there. I'm sorry. That we have coming out Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'm hoping to take some time off Wednesday and catch that last Merseyside derby of the season. But Snooze, tell us about the schedule.
Yes, the fixture list looks like Tuesday we have 16th place versus 17th place when Wolves get West Ham at home, which is still crazy that West Ham are that far down. Typically, you would call this a 6-pointer, but as we just mentioned, the bottom of the table is so freaking horrible in the Prem this season that it just feels like a mid-table match with no stakes at this point between 16 and 17. Arsenal get Fulham at the Emirates, and since the title is just a formality now, or what'd you say, just a matter of time, it's more important for Fulham to stack points so they can try to get into Europe. Now, Forest do have something to play for as they try to secure Champions League qualification early, and they welcome Manchester United to town. And United are just looking to finish the Prem with some dignity and maybe to win the Europa League. But you know what? There's some other teams there that are probably going to win it first, buddy. Wednesday, we get Southampton, and they get in form Crystal Palace, who come into this match with a 3-game winning streak. And I can see them getting that winning streak to 4 pretty easily, Vic, pretty easily. Bournemouth are hoping that the international break can reset their form and their team, as they've lost 3 of their last 5 matches and let their European dreams slip away. They get Ipswich Town and have a good chance to get back in the W column. Brighton are one of the most informed teams in the Prem, and they get Aston Villa, who might be struggling domestically, but they are a fun team to watch, and this one should be a banger. They have the Struggies. They're Struggies. Newcastle get mid-table Brentford as they try to stack results and leapfrog City for the 5th place spot in the table. City get Leicester and might put 5 or 6 past them, honestly. I can easily see that. And then it's the final Merseyside derby of the season as Everton travel to Anfield to take on Liverpool. Everton have lost their Moisaya mojo a bit, but after 4 straight draws, this derby, I mean, anything can happen. It is 4 straight draws for them. We'll see. What happened last time? It was a draw, right?
Yeah, it was a draw, and it was pretty much a win for Everton. So that's a win for them.
See, here's the thing. I knew that. I just wanted to make you say it. So, you know.
Hey, we sent them off. That was part of our community service. We gave them a good send off.
Okay.
For their last Merseyside derby. I do want to call it real quick. The next match you see down there, it's Chelsea Tottenham. It's actually Thursday. It's not Wednesday. It's my fault. I messed up.
Oh, I was just about to call it out.
Thursday.
On Thursday, the for some reason the only match on Thursday is Chelsea and Spurs, as he just mentioned. And Chelsea look to hold on to that top 4 spot as they welcome Spurs to Stamford Bridge this time. Spurs haven't won in their last 3 league matches, and Chelsea have lost 3 of their last 5. And this is not typically where these teams are when this derby happens, and it's going to be interesting. I am 100% ready for Spurs to get beat, probably 3-1, something like that. And Cole Palmer can't score to save his life right now, and he's going to get a hat trick, something stupid like that. But yes, that's what's going to happen on Thursday. And Vic, let's talk about the final Merseyside derby of the season. And again, this is why the Prem is kind of boring to talk about too much, because there's not a lot of it at stake here. Like, y'all could draw and you're fine. You could lose and you'll be fine. Not saying it's gonna happen, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I don't know if we'll be fine. I think we'll
oh yeah, there's 13 points gap. What's the gap right now? It's insane.
It's not about the points for a derby. It's about beating Everton. All right, they tied us last time. We're not gonna let them come to Anfield and beat us or tie us or draw us or nothing like that. We're gonna do it. It's a classic matchup. It's your boy Danny P versus Hype Man Vic. Drop who you like better in the comments. Maybe it's the one you see most of or you hear talk a lot more. Drop that one down in the comments who you like more, Danny P or Hype Man Vic. Let us know.
Yes, please let us know. Yeah, in the other matches, I mean, the outside of obviously Spurs and Chelsea, the other match that I'll be watching in this one is that Brighton and Aston Villa match. I just feel like that one could be a banger. Brighton, like I was telling you, they're on a 5-game win streak, something like that. And Villa, like I said, they've not been great domestically, but they're still a really good team, and they're still in the Champions League quarterfinals. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a great match. I'm excited to watch it. Okay, Vic, I think we said it all. Under 45 minutes. Look at that.
Not
Look at
bad
us.
at all. Look at us.
Anything else you need to cover, though? I think we're good.
Nothing.
Okay, well, let's take us home.
All right. Again, everybody, thank you for spending some time with us talking about some European football. Be sure to follow us on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast except for Twitter, except for Twitter or TikTok. That is at No Biz Sock Pod. You can see it going down right there. We had shortened up because it was way too long. Coming out this Friday, we will talk about the results for the Premier League since we already did do the matchup look ahead. And then we're going to talk about the look ahead for the rest of the leagues. And yeah, I can't wait to talk to you then. Enjoy the Premier League midweek matchup, and we'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Peace.